Hello, Dr. Frankie here on another Thursday. And today's topic is one that I'm pretty sure most of us have grappled with. It's whether to get back with an ex. So hopefully you'll find this topic helpful. Please comment, share, subscribe to my channel. I'm a CEO of Little Gay Book Matchmaking. My website's littlegaybook.com. I also have a company, Little Black Book, that does matchmaking, and you can find that at drfrankie.com. I would love to see you all there. And even more so, I want to hear your reactions and your thoughts about this topic. Should we get back together with an ex? Breakups are a fact of life. And sometimes for better or for worse, so is an inability to get over an ex. And again, I think many of us can relate to this. Although most of us, the advice you'll find out there advocates for a clean break, of course, real life is much more complicated, right? Many of us find ourselves with our exes still present somewhere in our lives, even if only second degree through mutual friends or social media. Even if you do succeed in making a clean break, there's no promise your ex won't reach out after some time has passed and maybe a moment of weakness 6 months later and ask for another try. And the reality is that many of us might seriously consider that ask. Although breakups are a fact of life, many of them are decisions we make with a really heavy heart. We may have really wanted to find a way to make it work, and some loophole that would mean we didn't have to end things. Seeing a message from your ex that says something along the lines of, I've changed, things will be different this time, or things will be better this time, I don't want to lose you, may feel like that loophole is finally presenting itself. Should we believe them? It can be difficult to distinguish between a commitment that's actually true and something we very much want to be true. Here are the questions I recommend asking yourself if you're trying to decide whether you should get back together with your ex. What's changed since you broke up? We break up for a lot of reasons. We want different things. We have irreconcilable differences, or someone cheats. That's also pretty common. Most fundamentally, because at least one person no longer wants to be in the relationship. Most of the reasons we break up are within the context of the relationship. Pretty major, and many are irreconcilable. The first question we have to ask ourselves, though, is, it may not feel so good to be honest about whether the circumstances that meant we didn't think we could be in a relationship together have shifted at all. This might be a tougher thing to figure out than it seems. If your ex wants to get back together, they're also aware this is a concern and are likely telling you that the reasons you broke up no longer apply. If they wanted kids and you didn't, and they're saying that they're now fine with that, if you wanted to be exclusive and they didn't, they're now saying they'll do monogamy if it means they can be with you. Maybe they treated you poorly or just didn't meet your needs in a relationship. And now they're saying that they've changed and they're willing to meet your needs. Obviously, these all sound great, and we can hope that these things are true. It's your job to analyze the situation as objectively as possible and figure out how likely that actually is. If someone's offering to make a compromise to what was previously a non-negotiable to them, that's certainly something. But you have to assess whether A, that's likely to stick long-term, and B, if you're confident there won't be any lingering resentments for it. Someone may offer something like having gone to therapy or entered recovery as evidence that your relationship will be meaningful, or somehow meaningfully different. Like maybe that was an issue in the relationship and now it's really going to be different this time around. This is, again, definitely commendable, but may not mean that your relationship will immediately improve. To put it bluntly, going to therapy without a genuine commitment to self-inquiry and recognizing your own faults won't result in much real change. Similarly, it's totally possible to achieve sobriety while maintaining the problematic patterns and behaviors you developed while using. Even if pursued with an admirable and sincere commitment to change, both therapy and sobriety are a very long road to walk. Just a reality. It takes many years to reach a good place, And in the meantime, it can be challenging to be the partner of someone going through major growth and transition. What outcomes are you imagining from getting back together? Are they realistic? Obviously, there are very strong emotions associated with breakups and the prospect of getting back together. Without even meaning to, we may have already begun slipping into narratives of what we think might happen or want to have happen. Maybe you're idly imagining a future where this time your ex will be excited to meet your family and coworkers, or that they'll finally take a weekend off work and make breakfast with you. Again, these things are technically within the realm of possibility, but we should be careful to maintain perspective about these hopes. Your ex has likely offered some kind of olive branch, a desire to do something better or differently, but you can't expect that the fundamental infrastructure of our relationship will change. Notice what's driving you to consider getting back together and look at the facts. Are you making this decision based on hope or probability? What are the best and worst scenarios here? When making any major decision, it's always helpful to look at best and worst case scenarios. If you're feeling fearful about something, think about what the outcome you're most afraid of is. If you're hopeful, what for? What are you hopeful for? Looking at your decision about your ex, what's the worst case outcome? It might be something pretty wild, might be something pretty mild, right? Maybe your ex is mostly out of your life and you feel confident that you could try things out with them for a month or two and then cut it off if it isn't going well without sustaining much damage. On the other hand, maybe this relationship was hugely formative for you and cutting it off the first time was deeply distressing action and it took months to start to recover from. And the worst case scenario of going through something similar again and seriously risking your mental health is something to be aware of. Like that would be pretty crazy to put yourself at risk that way. Similarly, let's think about what could go right. At its best, what was this relationship like? And I really want you to be brutally honest with yourself. It may be that this relationship actually wasn't what you wanted, which may be why you broke it off to begin with. Are you thinking about this because you really do want the feelings of this relationship back, or because it feels good to be wanted? On the other hand, if at its best, this relationship truly felt like it met your wants and your needs, and you would be willing to take an emotional risk to see if it's possible to still have that, then maybe this is a gamble you want to make. So here's where you just have to be really honest with yourself. And yeah, just something that many of us can be contemplative about, because I think, you know, it happens where we have an attachment and it doesn't work out and we hold our ex in such like warm regard. And sometimes we want to just try to give it another shot. So hopefully you found this helpful and would love to hear your thoughts, your comments, and I will see you next Thursday. Take care.